Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers, and this is Andy235. I'm going to talk to you about how to clean up some edge loops that you may have that are causing some issues, some creasing issues because there's too many that you've had to add to create detail for somewhere else, like on the sole. If you create detail on the sole, it's going to go all the way up through the foot. Now you can either separate these edge loops farther apart, or what I like to do is just separate the object that's causing problems from the rest of the shoe. So I'm going to show you how to do that. It's much easier, and I'll show you the difference between the two when I get all finished. Alright, so let's go ahead and separate this. Let's go to mesh, separate, and let's just work on one boot. I'm going to go to Control 1 to isolate that. And what we want to do is we want to separate the sole of the shoe to the body of the shoe. Alright, so I'm going to right click and go to face mode. And I'm just going to click on this one and just double click on the second one. It should go all the way around. I'm going to do the same thing with the top part here. I'm going to split it right on that edge right here. That's a good natural spot place to separate it. I'm going to hold the shift key down and double click on that, and that should go all the way around. So we'll have that little line there, and the rest of it I'm just going to select it from the side view and get the rest of it. So to do this, I'm going to add to our selection. So what I do is I hold down the shift and the control key, and that will add to this selection. Okay, and I can continue just adding that selection like that. Okay. With that done, go back to my perspective, kind of rotate around, see if I get everything the way I want it. With that done, then after my selection, then I want to extract that. So I'm going to hold down the space bar. I'm going to go to Edit Mesh. I'm going to go down to Extract. I'm going to click on the option box. There's not too much here. Just extract, separated, extracted faces. Click on Reset and Extract. Depending on how high poly your shoe is, it may take a little while, but it's all done. Okay, when I'm done, I'm just going to click off, hit the Q key, right click over and go to selection mode. And now we have two separate pieces. Okay, with that done, alright, so that would be the hard part, of separating. The rest of it's easy. So now that they're separate pieces, all the work that you did on the actual the sole of the shoe, the tread, which looks really good by the way, can be separated now. So that means that now I can get rid of anything here that I no longer need. So that's all I have to do. I don't want to get rid of any edge loops that we want to keep. So I've got to determine which ones to keep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of center on, we've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we can probably get rid of 5 of those. Okay. It really dependent on what we need. If we look to the top here, we can see that this looks like the original piece here because the rest of it is just a straight line. So I'm going to go to edge mode. I'm going to double click on all of these. I'm going to hold the shift key and double click on all these like this. That looks like the original edge, okay, because that's the shape that we see here. The rest is flat all the way across. So that can we can take care of that. And that should smooth that entire thing out. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold Control key and then the Delete key. What that does is it deletes the edge and the vertices underneath. I'm going to right click over and go to Vertex. You can see that I don't have any remnants of vertices. So now I just have to go back in here and just look at the rest of the shoe, how it was created. And it looks like this one here is pushed out a little bit more. I don't know if that is something that the artist wanted to push in there or place in there, but those are definitely things we can get rid of. I do need to keep one of those in there, and which one I don't know, because I really can't tell what they wanted to do here. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to get rid of these for sure, the 3 that we see here. So I'm going to hold the shift key down and just double click all these. That should go all the way around. I think I probably want to keep this one, so I'm going to get rid of these over here. So let's go ahead and do a control delete, and there we go. You can see how that looks. I'm going to go to selection mode. I'm going to go to vertex mode, make sure that we don't have any vertices that are stray over there, and that's looking better already. And then we see we have edge loops. Now these edge loops here we probably need to keep because it looks like we've got geometry that needs to be sustained in this area here. Looks like this is the tongue of the boot. So we probably need to keep these, but what we can do is we can separate these, and I'll show you how that works. But these for sure don't need to be here. So we probably will keep one of those in these 3. So let's go ahead and get rid of that and rid of that. And we'll do control delete. And yes, you can see we can just move up this shoe and get rid of the ones that we don't need. Control delete and continue on. You can see this one might be different. I don't know if this is needed in here, but that one was created and I don't see any reason for it, but we'll have to keep this one here, I think, and we'll delete this one. Okay, control delete or control delete. And that looks pretty good so far. We've got some issues with this one. Maybe I did need to keep that. I don't know. That doesn't look right. And we might have an issue here. Let's see here. What do we got here? Okay, so we might have an n-gon here. I'm not sure. We definitely, that's a problem here. So I'm going to do control delete, and this might be an n-gon. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. No, 1, 2, 3. That's that's a triangle, or that's a quadrangle. So we're good there. Do we need anything on the back? I noticed that there's some issues back here, so I'm going to go ahead and double click on that one, control delete, and then this one right here, because I don't really think it needs to support that edge all the way up, and that's causing some creasing right here too as well. So control delete on that, and then we've got 3 here that don't need to be there at all. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of, let's see, I would say get rid of all of that. They're not actually doing anything. It's flat all the way across here. So I don't think that's going to matter anyway. So I'm going to get rid of all these. And if I need some later, we can maybe bring them back. But I think we're okay by getting rid of those. Control delete. Of course, you can see that when you smooth the shoe, it's going to be a lot better. There's nothing that I need to hold up in here. So I'm going to get rid of these. I'm going to get rid of only 2 of those. Leave the center one, okay? Because we do need to have this for roundness. Let's go ahead and control delete on that. And then here, I have to be careful. I'm not sure what's going on with this. We can probably get rid of one of those. So I'll do that. Control Control Delete, and then we're working around here. And then Control Delete. And we're going to do the same thing on this side as well. You can see that looks so much better. And we'll keep one of these here. Control Delete. And then get rid of, let's see, how do we do this one? We get rid of everything except for one of these. Okay. And that looks really good. So I think the only part that I think is going to be a problem is right here. So how do we fix that? If we need this here to support this edge, then there's a couple things we could do. We could probably get rid of this edge, because I don't think that one's needed. Okay. And if we need it, we need it to go through here too as well to support this edge and go all the way up here. But we've got some breaks in here that won't work. We can experiment on this. I might keep it, but what I would suggest that you do is we can take that edge, a vertex here, and you can move it across here, and that will pull this apart to give you a smoother look. You won't have a crease there, and I'm thinking there's going to be a crease there when I smooth it. So when I hit the 3 key, you can see maybe that crease right there. You see that crease is still there. That's what we kind of want to get rid of. All right, we don't want to see those creases. You can see the back of this boot is looking really good. Okay, it might just need to be defined more, but we don't have any of those issues here, which is kind of nice. Okay. All right, the problem with the bottom part of the boot, if you go and smooth that, you can see that we're going to have some issues here because we've got all these little parts right here that aren't smoothing properly. Okay, so that could be an issue. So what you want to do is you want to spread these out. Okay, so you can still get a good nice smooth option, but you're gonna take these and move these over. So a lot of times if you do an edge and you move edges, let's go ahead and hit the 1 key again. You want to take these edges and you can slide those. You may only want to slide certain portions of this, right? And slide that edge. So if you hold down the shift and the right mouse button, you can go to slide edge tool, and if you hold the middle mouse button, you can move those edge loops over. Okay, now this probably won't work very well right here. Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to deselect, holding down the control key, and deselect that piece right there. But I'm going to go right back into, I'm holding down the shift and my right mouse button and go into insert or slide edge loop tool. So I can slide that edge. Now this needs to be here. That looks okay. But if I move this across, see, it's going to, kind of move it, and it won't be so harsh right there. Okay, and you don't want to do the same thing with all the rest of these. I know this is a lot of work, but this is how you get things smoothed out. Now you can't do anything about this one, but you can do something about this one. And you can see how this really helps smooth it out. Okay. And you just have to kind of be careful, just kind of smooth it out a little bit. I got this one underneath accidentally, so I'm going to try that again. Just click on this and this, and go into the slide edge tool. There we go. And that's how you move things away from each other, and you continue on, of course, all the way around, and things will start looking a little better for your model, and that kind of smooths things out a little bit. And the next thing, you know, with that done, you can see the difference now when I smooth this, that now you see you don't have those really sharp pieces right there, and your model up here will blend in with this really well. And you can see that they're still there. There's not much I can do about that, but we helped those areas out. And you can probably even smooth these out even more. And I think you're okay with going in here and doing what we did before. Slide edge loop tool, and whoops, not insert edge loop tool. Okay, somehow I got into that. Alright, let's go back into edge. Just want to go in here. I think I accidentally selected something. There we go. And I actually selected that slide edge, and we're going to move that over, and you can see that if we spread these out even a little bit more than we had, this will help smooth out how this all looks, and not worry, and it won't really affect this at all. So you can see that I'm spreading these out until I get to the point where it looks good. Okay, and that looks pretty good. You don't see the big bumps that you see here. Okay, there's a little bit, but you know, that's much better than what you had before. Okay, so that's how you can do that part of it, and you'll do that for all of these in here. Just spread them out, move them out, you know, and that should take care of that. And then let's get back to this boot here. Same thing goes for this. Okay, so I can go in here and select this edge all the way down, and this is nice that I can select this edge here and go to the bottom of this. Okay, find out where that is and double click on this, hold the shift key and double click on that, and that will only go up to that point. If you skip down to the bottom, it'll just select that edge there. If you double click on it, it's going to go all the way around. We don't want to do that. We want to just go click on that edge and click on this edge right here. Okay, and this will allow me to hold the shift key down and right mouse button and go to slide edge tool. We'll do the same over here. You're sliding along this line here, and when you're separating these things out, you still are holding that edge really well right here, and we don't want to lose that. I'm going to do the same thing with this. This one is just too close, so we're going to move that. So I'm going to click on that, go into here, go down to where we see this part right here, and we're going to go ahead and double click on that and do the same thing. Slide edge tool, and we're going to slide that over like that. Now this one's a little bit odd right here. I probably could slide this vertex down. Okay, all right, so this gets a little trickier because this line is not lining up with that. So a lot of times I'll have to go and double click on the move tool, and I'm going to go to maybe component mode. That doesn't really work. Normal mode, that's pretty close, not quite what I want. Custom, I want to click on the edge. So if I go to custom, okay, let's see if it lets me constrain to an edge. So let me click on an edge here. Right, that edge there. You can see that now it's kind of constrained to that. So I'm going to go to custom, pin, bake option, and And I think that's what we have. An edge. Alright. So I'm going to try custom again. And I'm going to right click over to the vertex. Select it. And this used to work. Custom. There it is. I think I got it. That's it. So now I can move that edge over along that edge and just kind of make that subtle adjustment right there. Okay. Now again, we still have issues with this one that's too close. And I'm not exactly sure why this one's here, because that's kind of causing some issues with this. So I am going to keep it because I think it's like supporting this edge loop here. So I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to click on this edge right here, and we're going to go back into resetting that tool, and I'm going to hit the Q key. I'm going to go down to the bottom here, get a little closer and double click on this, and you can see now I can move that, slide that edge over. Okay, now I'm holding the middle mouse button to do that, sliding edge. There we go. So you can see that we have some, they're not so close together, and that makes a huge difference. Okay, and at this point I could probably go in and move this one over just because it's so close to that one, and this should finish up my issue that I had before. There we go. So I'm just going to move this light edge tool and move that over like that. Here we go. And now when we look at the shoe and we smooth it, I'm going to hit the 3 key. You can see that we've got most of these issues taken care of. We still see a little slight issue right here, but that's something that you could probably go back in there. And I'm going to hit the 4 key. Go to selection mode. I hit the 4 key by accident. And go in there and just maybe move these vertices around just to pull them out a little bit more. Just right here. But otherwise, I think this is looking good. Now, if you want to add edge loops in here to support any of these edges to make these a little more, you can actually go into cut faces tool. I'm going to get out of that tool here, but that's looking pretty good. That's looking way better than it did. You'll probably do the same thing on this side, but that's how you fix the boot. The last thing I would do, because these pieces are different now, is I would make sure that you kind of extrude. So I'm going to give you an idea how I would do that. So I'm going to go Control 1. Whoops. Yeah, get that separated. Get that all back, and then I'm going to go to Control 1 just to show this boot, and I'm going to make an extrude in here. I know this sounds kind of weird, but it's going to work out really well. The thing is, I don't want the sole will no longer fit on the shoe because I've made some adjustments through here. The geometry won't match, so this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to go in here and you're going to have to add a little more geometry. So I'm going to do Control E, which is extrude, okay? And I'm going to hit the R key, okay? Now what I can do with that is I can scale that in like this all the way around the shoe, okay? The reason why I'm doing that is because I need to have that in case the sole doesn't fit, so you won't see a gap anywhere, okay? And that can be a kind of a problem, all right? So what I'll probably do is not go that extreme. I'm going to go back to what we had, and I'm going to go back to selecting it before I did anything. Whoops, I went back too far. So I'm going to back to edge, double click on that edge, that inside edge, the last edge we have here, and I'm going to do Control E again, And you can see we have the manipulator. I might use that instead. So I'm just going to go ahead and move that blue in a little bit. And that'd be a better way. I think that's the best way to do it. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to extrude again. Control E. All right. And move it down a little bit. Okay. This will allow us to not have to match up the sole. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click off. And I'm going to go to selection mode. And I'm going to go to Q key. And that just deselects everything. And I'm going to go basically go to 3, hit the 3 key. And now you can see what you've created now. All right, so you can see that if I place, it gives me a little ridge in here. Okay, that protects us from having to match that sole perfectly. Okay, so with that done, let's go back to 1. And I am going to go back into control 1, just control 1, get that back. And you can see no matter what happens now, the sole doesn't have to match, but I'm not too worried because once you're done getting everything fixed on this side, because I'm not going to do the whole thing, that's just too much. You got to see how I fixed all this other stuff right here. That when you get done with the sole, you're going to want to do this. So the sole needs to be all spread out like we did here. Make it look good. I'm going to go control 1. And now we're going to look at this sole, and we can do the same thing to this. We're going to click on the edge. Okay. We're going to do control E. We're going to use the blue arrow and the manipulator, blue arrow, to go in a little bit. And then we're going to do control E again and use the blue arrow to go up. Just a little bit. Don't have to go much. There we go. And so now we have 2 sections, 2 pieces that will work really well together. Okay, I'm going to do control 1, bring that back. I know this seems like a lot of work, but here's the cool thing. Excuse me, we're going to go to hit the 3 key, see how that looks. 3 key to see how that looks. And we can get in there and we can look and we can see that it works really well. Okay, it matches better over here because we fixed it. All right, and that's that. That's it. It doesn't have to match perfectly, but now that they're 2 separate pieces, and you can even UV map them a lot easier than you could have before. You just have to spread all these out like I showed you here, all around the bottom of the boot. Again, I'm going to leave that up to you, but the boot itself looks so much better. Let's just check it out. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the history on this. I'm going to go to poly modeling and delete all the history on this, freeze transformation, center pivot, and do the same thing with this, because when you separate something, the pivot gets a little bit crazy. So I'm going to do the same thing with that. And we'll go ahead and check them out, check the boots out together side by side to see what you think. So I'm going to select this one. And I'm going to go into this mode here. Let's go ahead and click on this one and this one, this one and this. Yeah, there we go. So let's go ahead and hit the 3 key and see how they look. So you can see the difference. This has got all kinds of ridges on there, and you can see how smooth this is. And you can see how rigidy this one is. This is what I'm talking about, cleaning your stuff up. Okay. And if you want to add more division to the boot itself, you would have to go in there and add edge loops. Be careful where you add them, okay? So the first thing I would do is just to go in here and you add an edge loop. You can do it right in the center of it. A lot of people don't think that would be a good idea, but you can. And you're going to go ahead and get that really close to that edge, see? And you're going to get really close to that edge, and that keeps you from having to do any edges in here on the outside. It's not going to fix everything, but boy, it's going to make a huge difference on how that looks. So I'm going to hit the Q key, go back in here, and I'm going to hit the 3 key, and you can see, wow, that made a huge difference. That really added a lot of definition to that area there without adding any more edge loops here to cause any more problems. You can do the same thing with this guy right here. I don't think that looks bad, but it could look so much better with adding a couple edge loops in the inside. It looks like you've already got one started right here. That's great. So let's do the same thing over on this side. So let's go into insert edge loop and create an edge loop that goes right like that. Now that should just go around that part right there, and it does. So just doing those small little things make a huge difference, because when I go in here now, I can go into select it and hit the 3 key, and now you can see you got a lot more division into that piece right there as well. I'm not sure what's happening here. That is really bizarre. What is that? Interesting. Okay, maybe that is a separate piece somewhere. Anyway, that needs to be fixed. I didn't see that. What is that? Anyway, I'm going to hit the 1 key. Okay, so you might want to look at that and find out what in the world is going on there. That's odd. There's something there. Not sure what it is. Looks like a polygon of some kind. Interesting. Let's check this out. Let's go inside. Okay, what just happened here? It's a polygon in the inside of the shoe that's going through. Very odd. If I go in here to vertex, it looks like we've got a vertex that's sticking out there that is going through right here too as well, I think. Could be wrong, but that looks like what it is. Something happening with this too. Let's see what happens when I push it back. That's pushing something else back too, so I gotta be careful at this point for sure. But then there's something inside here that I can see it. Let's see, it's right, goes right there. Maybe it's just that thing right there. Let me try that. And it's fixed now. Okay, great. Little things. So now you can see the difference between this, how nice that looks now compared to this. Makes a huge difference. Now you're going to have to fix all that stuff on that side, but we can see that it looks much better. Okay, so fix that other side, and what you can do is you can go ahead and mirror this over to the other side, the shoe, since it's separate from the other shoe. I'll go ahead and give you this file. The student let me have this and just kind of separate things a little bit and move things around and get her all smoothed out, and you should be in business. Okay, other than that, go ahead and finish that up on the other side, just like what I showed you on this side, and you should be good to go. All right, have a good day.